For those of you who may not know me, my name is Mitchell Heber. I am 24 years young. I'm an entrepreneur. I help people discover the true smile in life. If you're happy, you're smiling. So that's kind of my motto here. But just taking information, things that I'm learning, passing it on to you guys. So I hope it has some value. I always like the feedback, so I appreciate any of that from all of you. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about forgetting who is in the room. So this is can be applied to life. You know, where is somewhere in your life where you maybe were in a room with someone and you didn't know who it was, and maybe you just, you know, were the one talking the whole time. So a little bit about listening today and why listening is important. So that's why I got to forget who's in the room, because sometimes you got to shut up and listen. So there's been times in our lives where we've probably been burned by other people, by listening to other people. And really that is, you know, you go back into your life, you know, growing up and how we were raised. Maybe you got some advice from, you know, your mother or your father, or maybe your older brother or sister. And it could be someone in your life, it could be a friend even. And you took that advice and you applied it to your life, but then you realized after you did it, whatever it was, you thought to yourself, why did I do that? So kind of like reversing your thought process in a sense, because you were betrayed. You know, why did I listen to that advice? Why did I take that in? Why did I do that? And that's part of what this concept is tonight. And part of this is because we are one of the most adaptable species, that this goes back to, you know, once you realize, oh, why did I listen to that advice, you kind of adapt to that situation and kind of reverse engineer that process, so you listen to yourself and you take your own advice in that sense or in that scenario. So it's not always what you say or feel, but what you do. And by what you do is going to change your thinking process. So part of that is just reprogramming your brain to adapt to what is correct, listening to yourself and not always what other people are saying, in a sense there. So also, you know, part of this goes to the law of 33% that I've talked about in one of my previous videos. But basically there's these kind of three tools of social, which you got to understand with this law of 33%, which is basically completely listening or completely not listening. And then the third one would be a give or take situation, where you're having a conversation with someone and there's that give and take. So the law of 33% is basically you know, spending 33% of your time with your mentors or people 10 years ahead of you, 33% of your time with people on your level, and then 33% of your time with people below you, and in a sense you're then the mentor in that situation. So that's kind of what that concept is, and applying those three tools of social with that give or take conversation, people that probably are on your level, and then the, you know, hardcore listening, tool number one, which is basically knowing who's in the room and listening to that person because they're 10 years ahead of you. And then the completely not listening is probably where you're doing most of the talking, and those are people that you're mentoring in a sense. So this is a important topic to realize with these three tools of social and knowing who's in the room. So where is somewhere in your life where maybe you've you know, listened to someone that gave you advice that you probably should have avoided, it wasn't in your best interest, and where is somewhere maybe you didn't listen because you didn't know who was in the room. So think about that tonight, and I'll leave you with that. So keep smiling. Much love to all of you, and drop a comment if this had some value to you. So thank you. Have a good night.